Hi, ang subject natin ay PRE1, Auditing and Assurance Principles. Ang topic natin, Completing the Audit and Post-Audit Responsibilities. So, bago natin i-discuss yung ating topic, i-review muna natin nasang part na ba tayo ng audit process. Okay? So sa ating audit process, yung una, PEA, pre-engagement activities, kung saan dyan natin tinitingnan kung i-accept or i-reject ba natin yung bagong client, or kung datihan na siyang client, i-continue ba natin or i-terminate na yung engagement. Next, kapag in-accept natin or i-continue natin ang isang engagement, mag-create na tayo ng plan. Saan tayo magpo-focus sa ating audit process? Anong audit procedures ang gagawin natin? Anong method of evidence o ano yung evidence gathering tools na gagamitin natin for us to be able to gather appropriate and sufficient evidences. So, para maging efficient tayo, yung first part ng ating process, first part no, sa ating plan ay yung test of controls, kung saan titingnan natin yung reliability ng system ng controls na ginagamit para mabuo yung financial statements. Kung reliable, so dyan nakadepende sa test of controls yung substantive, yung net, nature, extent, and timing ng substantive testing natin. Kung maganda ang internal control, ibig sabihin nun, less substantive testing tayo. Meaning, kung maganda ang control, malamang maganda at reliable din yung mabubuo nitong financial statements. Pero kung hindi, titingnan na talaga natin yung mismong details ng financial statement as to transactions and balances. Gagamit din tayo ng sampling techniques sa test of controls, kung saan sa test of controls ang tawag natin dun sa ating sampling is yung attribute sampling. Kung saan aalamin natin based sa sample kung gaano kadalas or madalas bang sinusunod yung internal controls na ginagawa yung isang company, at enough ba yon to provide or to facilitate a reliable financial reports. Sa substantive testing naman, yung variable sampling. So, tinitingnan natin sa variable sampling, sa substantive testing, kung may misstatements yung financial statement mismo. So, dun sa test of controls, kung paano yung pagbuo sa financial statements. At sa substantive testing, yung financial statements talaga. So, okay? So, pag natapos na ang test of controls at substantive testing, yung kasunod nating topic, yung completing the audit. Ano-ano ba yung considerations natin dyan? So, hindi ba tayo gagawa ng audit report pagkatapos ng test of controls and substantive testing? Hindi pa. Kasi ang naka-subject dyan, yung current year. Later, i-discuss pa natin. So, completing the audit. Pag complete na natin yung audit, yung processes dyan, tsaka pa lang magkakaroon ng audit report. Ano na ba yung opinion natin as auditor dun sa financial statements? And at last, meron ba tayong ibang responsibilities to the audit report, to the independent auditor's report? Alamin din natin mamaya. At doon, yun ay part ng post-audit responsibilities. Ibig sabihin, tapos na yung audit report, wala na ba tayong responsibilities? Aalamin natin mamaya. At, yun na, nakatapos na tayo ng isang client. So, yun yung buong process. Pero, ang i-discuss lang natin ay, na-discuss na natin yung iba, yung apat. Tama ba? Apat? Tama, apat. Yung dalawa, i-discuss natin ngayon. Mag-start tayo sa completing the audit. At yung last topic natin, yung auditor's report. So, ano yung component ng ating completing the audit? So, ang ating subject lang talaga, ang isa subject natin lang for audit is the year nung i-audit natin. So, previously, yung nakalipas na audit year is 2019, calendar year 2019 from January 1 to December 31, 2019. So, yun din yung kadalasan, karamihan sa mga kumuha ng financial statements from the listed companies dun sa Edge portal, mapapansin natin doon from January 1 to December 31. Pero yung iba, pwedeng may makuha fiscal year naman. So, sa individual taxpayers, so hindi allowed yung fiscal, full calendar year. Pero kapag corporations, ayan, pwede silang mag-fiscal year. So, dahil ang subject lang natin ay yung current year, yung previously ended year, ano tong subsequent events? Mamaya, discuss natin. So, part ng subsequent events, yung litigations, claims, and assessments. Paano kung hindi pa tapos yung mga litigation? Bakit natin i-consider yan? Andyan din yung written management representation letter. Ano yan? Mamaya. At yung wrap-up procedures, kumbaga yung finishing touches or finishing processes. So, start tayo sa subsequent events. So, para maintindihan natin, year under audit. Okay, so ang sample natin ay BDO, Unibank, and subsidiaries. So, statement of financial position. So, ang covered period na so, ito ay balance sheet, statement of financial position. So, ang component nito ay from January, so as of to, year-end balances as of December 31, 2019. Pero yung statement of financial performance, so start na ng January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2019. So, yun yung year under audit. Kaso, so for the purpose ng ating topic, ang year under audit natin ay year 2019. So, ang concern natin sa subsequent events ay syempre, yung subsequent events after 2019. So, from January 1, 2020 onwards. Bakit pa natin i-consider yon? So, i-breakdown muna natin yung subsequent events. Break tayo sa PowerPoint. So, yung subsequent events natin, so, December 21, 2019 or January 1 onwards, 2020, yun yung subsequent events. So, yung subsequent events natin, so, until the audit report. So, ano naman yung audit report na yan? So, kuha tayo ng example ulit. Okay, kuha tayo ng sample ng ating audit report. So, sample audit report. Ayan. So, ito yung sa BDO audit report. So, sa audit report natin ng BDO, ulitin ko, ang ino-audit ay from January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2019 at yung subsequent events, ano yon? Sige. So, sa auditor's report, later, dun sa last topic natin, i-discuss pa natin ito. So, Ayan siya, may basis of opinion, key audit matters later, i-discuss natin yan. Okay, so yun yung component. Anong ginagawa ko? Hinahanap natin yung last part, yung may sign C, o signing partner ang tawag. Ayan, Punong Bayan and Arroyo. So ito yung auditing firm sa Pilipinas. Yung nasa taas kanina, yun yung kanilang associated firm, international associated firm. So, ang signing partner, baka mga isang araw, ang makikita ko na sa mga financial statement ay isa na sa mga pangalan nyo. Okay? So, ayan yung kanyang mga accreditation. Accredited siya ng SEC, ng BIR, tsaka ng BOA. So, kailan yung signature? Kailan yung audit date ng audit report? February 27, 2020. February 27, 2020. So, ibig sabihin, as auditor, si Leonardo D. Quaresma. Ang responsibility niya as auditor, hindi lang yung date from January 1 yung responsibility niya as auditor ay hindi lang up to December 31, 2019. Bagamat yun yung covered period ng audit, lalampas pa yung subsequent period. So, para makita natin, balik ulit tayo sa PowerPoint. So, ito yung under audit, ito yung hinahanap nila from January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2019, yun yung ino-audit. Kasi itong part na ito, from January 1 to February 27, 2020, may responsibility pa rin dyan si Leonardo D. Quaresma, the auditor of BDO for the year 2019. So, para i-break down, ano-ano yung responsibilities niya. So, una, ano bang types ng subsequent events? Okay. So, yung una ay yung disclosure events. So, ano ba yung disclosure events? So ano ba yung subsequent events? So, yung subsequent events, disclosure event, yan yung mga transactions na nangyari, yung transaction mismo, nangyari after the balance sheet date. So, January 1 onwards to February 27, 2020 after the audit report. So, mamaya, i-discuss natin yung responsibility natin up to what extent ng subsequent events yung isasama natin. So, bigay tayo ng example. Balik ulit tayo sa notes to the financial statements ni BDO. Okay, ito siya. So, ano yung events after the end of reporting period? Una, dividends. Sabi dito, on February 1, 2020, the parent bank's BOD, Board of Directors, approved the declaration of annual cash dividends on preferred shares Series A at rate of 6.5% per annum of the par value of total dividends. The dividend will be paid within 60 days. So, yung entry natin, pag cash dividends, so debit, cash dividend payable, credit, retained earnings. Baliktad. Yun yung mali. Huwag nyo gagawin yun. So, debit, retained earnings, credit dividend, cash dividends, payable. January pa yung transaction after the date, di ba? Hindi naman natin pwede siyang isama dun sa 2019 kasi na-declare lang, na-approve ng BOD yung declaration ng dividends ay February 1, 2020 pa. So, ano siya? Disclosure event. Kailangan lang i-disclose pero hindi isasama dun sa entries during the year. Kasi mahalaga siyang part kasi one of the users ng financial statements ay yung stockholders at mahalaga sa kanya ito. Ikalawa, sale of BDO leasing. Okay? So dito naman sa kasunod, sale of BDO leasing, yung pagpapaupa. Okay. So, kung i-observe natin, January 24, 2020 yung transaction. So, ang sabi dito, agreement to sell pa lang. Wala pa talaga yung transactions. Pero mahalaga ba yun? Ang sabi dito, entire controlling stake. So, material ba siya para sa financial statements? Malaki ba yung epekto niya dun sa financial statements? Kung during the year siya nangyari? Yes. Kaso dahil hindi naman siya during the year nangyari, hindi 2019, mahalagang part pa rin na i-disclose siya. Kasi makaka-apekto yan dun sa decision-making process ng users of the financial statements. Meaning, yung pag-list yan, so may rents. So, yung amount ng revenue nila from leasing ay malaki ang mawawala. So, therefore, kailangang i-disclosed dahil mahalaga siya sa users of the financial statements. And another one, issuance of fixed rate peso bonds. So, kanino naman siya mahalagang information? Ready sa kanilang mga kung bangko yan, may mga loans din silang ina-acquire. So, mahalaga din para ma-assess yung kanilang status as a bank, kung paano makaka-apekto itong i-issue nilang bonds. So, malaki yan. Yan ay in terms of, sabi dyan, February 3 siya. 2.5 years, may rate na 0.44%. Interest will be paid and calculated on quarterly basis. 35,000 fixed rate peso bond issuance. So, malamang ito ay okay. Kung babalikan natin yung nasa note 17.2, ang terms niyan, billions of peso. So, material siya, pero dahil hindi pa naman siya nangyari during the year 2019, hindi siya pwedeng isama sa transactions doon. Ang tawag doon, disclosure events. Okay? Okay, so alam na natin yung sa disclosure events. Pero kapag naman yung isa naman, ang tawag, adjusting events. So yung adjusting events, nangyari during the year 2019. Pero dahil estimate pa lang siya, normally, more on estimate yan, hindi mo ma-measure reliably yung amount kasi kulang ka pa sa information. So, pagdating mo during this period, sa halimbawa sa BDO, pagdating mo sa BDO, i-adjust mo ngayon. Kasi, nagkaroon ka na ng information to reliably measure the previous estimate. Halimbawa, sige, check natin sa BDO. Okay, so balik tayo sa BDO. Okay. So, sabi diyan, BDO Unibank Group has pending claims and or is a defendant in various legal actions arising from the ordinary course of business operations. As of December 31, 2019, management believes that no such legal proceedings are expected to have material adverse effect on BDO Unibank Group's financial position. So, meron naman silang mga legal claims during the year. Kaso, wala silang material adverse effect. So, walang gagawing adjustment. Kasi, yung sa contingencies natin, ibig sabihin ng contingencies, yun yung mga amounts ng obligations na hindi ka pa sure sa amount kung magkano or kung ano yung kanya magiging claim. Pero sabihin natin, within January 1 to February 27, 2020, natapos yung case, nasahan na. Malaki yung figures na measure mo na. Nangyari yung event, yung claim, during 2019. So, ngayon, pwede mo nang i-adjust yung financial statements. Kasi, nangyari na siya during 2019 or during the year under audit, pero hindi mo lang alam kung paano i-measure. Pero dahil alam mo na kung paano i-measure, pwede mo na siyang i-adjust ngayon. Okay. Next ay identification procedures. Paano natin ma-identify yung subsequent events? So, simply, pwede natin tingnan yung interim financial statements. Pwede yung monthly financial statements or kung malaking company naman yan, makikita mo naman sa system kung ano yung mga large transaction amounts. So, pwede natin i-check doon. Tapos, pwede nating malaman sa interview with the management ano yung mga material transaction. Sino ba yung gumagawa na malalaking desisyon para sa company? The BOD, the Board of Directors. So, yung minutes of the meetings, pwede natin i-check kung ano yung mga na-resolve nila. Ano pa? So, auditor's responsibility. So, si auditor, responsible lang siya during this period. During this period. Sa example, di ba may mga loans na sila? I-check natin si BDO ulit. Okay, punta tayo kay BDO. Si BDO, total resources niya, total assets, ay 3.1. So, sabi amounts in millions. So, kung amounts in millions, kung amount in millions, ang amount niya, so amounts in millions siya, so 2.2 million times 1 million, 2 trillion pesos ang kanyang outstanding obligation, loans and other receivables. So, kailan ba nagkaroon ng lockdown sa Pilipinas affecting their loans? So, kung i-observe natin, so 2 billion out of 2 trillion out of 3 trillion, almost 2/3 ng total assets ni BDO ay nasa loans, outstanding. Material ba? Yes. Nakapokus yung kanyang assets ay sa loans. Ngayon, dumating yung pandemic. nagkaroon ng mga lockdowns. Kailan ba yung mga lockdowns? March. So kung March yun, ang obligation lang naman, so balik tayo sa PowerPoint. Anong date niya ba ito? February 27. March pa. So ang responsibility lang ni auditor up to February 27. Hindi na siya responsible on the subsequent events after the audit report. Pero kung naging aware si auditor, dapat niyang isama iyon unless alam na naman yon ng lahat. Gaya ng pandemic, dahil alam na naman siya ng lahat, so kapag sinearch natin si pandemic dito sa kanyang financial statements, so pag chinek natin yung financial statements, yung pandemic or word COVID, so wait, check natin. Find pandemic. Okay, so walang pandemic. So try natin COVID. Oh, may nakalagay dito. So, tingnan natin. Most recently, we saw the impact of COVID-19 on the global economy and financial markets. As an institution, we have designed and adjusted our operations to withstand challenging situations such as this. As an essential industry, we remain committed to support the economy during this difficult time while ensuring we maintain a safe working environment and remain mindful of health of our employees. So ito'y part ng kanilang report, ng annual report. So check natin kung naka-affect, kung anong impact niya sa ating financial statements. Down risk to the outlook, however, are the impact of the volcano eruption, the uncertainty in government contracts, and potential economic fallout on the global economy generated by a prolonged duration of the 2019 coronavirus disease. Philippine economic pace is seen in continue in 2020. In line with modest global growth prospects, BDO will continue to have sustained, albeit tempered loan growth, while asset quality is generally expected to remain benign. So, yun yung kanyang effect. So, pinapakita nito na yung measurement, so pag chinek natin yung kanyang Note 10, so sige, check natin Note 10. Okay, sa Note 10, wala tayong makikitang notes as a result no COVID. So wala tayong mga basang COVID or wala akong napansing COVID. So pinapakita lang nito na yung impact to the loans na COVID ay hindi pa measurable. Okay, so wala tayong makikita dyan dahil yung event na nangyari ay 20, bagamat related siya dun sa mga loans na yon. Yung event nangyari, yung mismong event, yung pandemic, nangyari ay 2020. So yung impairment sa loan, ipipresent lang siya sa 2020. So patapos na itong year nitong 2020, so makikita natin sa financial statements niya ng 2020 yung effect ng COVID, ng pandemic sa financial statements ni Bangko de Oro. So yung change in estimate, ang application niya prospectively. So ganun. So itong pandemic makakasama din sa disclosure event. So napadisclose lang siya. Pero hindi siya napadisclose mismo dun sa tinignan natin kanina na subsequent events kasi after February 27 pa at knowledgeable naman ang lahat dun sa nangyari. Okay, so balik tayo sa PowerPoint. So, ang responsibility natin dito ay up to audit report. Sa audit report, meaning nakuha na natin ang sufficient and appropriate procedures at tapos na tayo sa ating mga ginagawang audit procedures. Pero ang pinakang may responsibility talaga na mag-report ng subsequent events ay syempre si management. So after the report date, kailangan lang na mapasama siya, mapadisclose siya, or mapa-adjust unless naging aware si auditor. Kung hindi naman tayo naging aware as auditor, ano na tayo dun? In good faith na tayo dun. Kasi ang magsasabi nun, primarily ay si management. Pero paano kung nakabot sa atin ng isang information na kailangan ng either disclosure or adjusting event? So, ano lang, i-recall lang natin yung audit report, mag-i-issue ng panibago. So, mamaya discuss ko kung paano yung effect dun sa ating audit report. So, ano responsibility natin from the audit report date February 27 to the date of issuance sa stockholders ng financial statements. So, i-discuss natin sa management na huwag munang ibigay sa stockholders yung financial statements. Kasi gagawa tayo ng panibagong report to reflect the disclosure or adjusting if it is material. Kung ayaw naman ayaw ni management, dali natin sa board of directors. Kung ayaw pa rin, di mag-i-issue na tayo dyan ng na either qualified or adverse opinion. Pwede bang disclaimer? Hindi. Bakit? Kasi pag disclaimer opinion, ibig sabihin, anon ka, cannot comment ka, no comment ka nun kasi hindi mo alam yung nangyari. Nalaman mo nga naging aware ka So, dahil naging aware ka on something, it's either qualified or adverse opinion. Pero kung walang ginawa si management o kaya si board of directors, gagawa tayo ng paraan para hindi mag-rely si users ng financial statements sa kanyang audit report. Okay, so kung yun ay adjusting event, paano ang effect sa date? So walang pagbabago kung ano pa yung original date. Kasi adjusting event siya kasi nangyari na yun during the year under audit. Pero kung disclosure event siya, nangyari siya sa period na ito. So, ang responsibility natin, yung tinutukoy ditong period, yung na subsequent events, ay yung kailangan i-disclose yung responsibility natin. So, pag in-adjust mo yan, mas dadami yung responsibility natin as auditors. So, per our original observation, ganito lang yung responsibility ni auditor ni BDO. So, kung in-adjust mo pa yan, kasi may na-discover siya na kailangan pa lang i-report na subsequent events, may dalawang option. Pwedeng palitan niya yung original date, kung ano yung subsequent date ng event, or pwedeng dual date. So, responsible si auditor up to this date sa lahat ng possible na subsequent event na material. Pero doon sa ikalawa pang date, dual date, yung first date, yung sa ikalawang date, naka-note doon yung specific event lang. Para at least ma-release tayo doon sa obligation natin or sa responsibility natin from the original date to the new date. O yung na-discover nating subsequent event. Okay? So, pag adjusting event, original. Pero pag disclosure event, may dalawa tayong option. Pwedeng original, yung panibagong date, kaso madami tayong obligation doon, responsibility. Pero pwedeng dual date na lang para mas specify kung aling subsequent event lang tayo responsible. Okay? Next ay litigation, claims, and assessments. So, source of information, di sa lawyer. Una sa management. Then, pwede tayong mag-acquire ng permission from the management na makipag-usap sa kanilang legal counsel or sa lawyer. Pag wala tayong permission to consult with the lawyer, required yon. Pag hindi na tayo pinarmit, ano yun? Limitation yon. Basta nagkaroon tayo ng scope limitation sa ating mga audit procedures at kung ito yung material and pervasive, pwede tayo makapag-issue na whether na qualified or disclaimer of opinion kasi hindi tayo sure on a particular. So, tatandaan nyo dyan, kailangan ng permission. Pag hindi inalaw, pwede tayong magkaroon ng modification sa ating report. Either maging siyang qualified or disclaimer of opinion. Ayan, in case of scope limitation, pwedeng maging qualified o kaya ay disclaimer of opinion. Next is yung written management letter. So, ano yan? So, pakita na tayo ng sample. Okay, balik tayo dito sa auditor's report. So, nakita natin yung auditor's report. So, pag nakita natin yung auditor's report, atras lang tayo ng isang page. Ayan siya. Statement of Management Responsibility for Financial Statements. So, ito ay required part ng financial statement at isa din siyang audit evidence. Ayan. Nakakita na kayo na Statement of Management Responsibility ni BDO. Okay. So, ano bang meron dito? So, Statement of Management Responsibility. So, break tayo sa ating PowerPoint. Okay. Ayan. Written Management Representation Letter. Ayan. So, isa siyang audit evidence. So, integral part siya ng financial statements. Important siya, integral part siya, but not sufficient. Mamaya, discuss natin yung component niya. Ito na pala, form and content. So, anong content niya? Una, na si management ang responsible sa preparation ng financial statements. So, i-check natin. Responsible for the preparation and presentation of the financial statements. Okay, check. So, tingnan pa natin. Ano pa? FS prepared in accordance to GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So, isa pang responsibility ni BDO or ng management. Provision of necessary evidence. Okay, so i-check na. Then elements. Ano mga elements? May addressee. Sinong addressee? EDC, auditor. Date. May date din. At signatories. Ang signatories, yung responsible sa financial statements. Yung date, dapat on or before the audit report date. So, i-check natin. Sabi sa components niya, responsible for the preparation. So, i-check natin si BDO. Okay. Responsible for the preparation and presentation of the financial statements. Ayan. In accordance with prescribed financial reporting framework. Okay. Nandiyan din nakalagay si management responsible sa pagiging going concern o yung capacity to continue. Ayan. So, ang signatories natin si Teresita T.C. Siya yung chairperson of the board. President and Chief Executive Officer si Nestor B. Tan. Treasurer Dalmacio D. Martin. So, tatlo normally ang kanyang signatory. At kung i-observe natin, yung kanyang date ay same dun sa Independent Auditor's Report. February 27 din. So, yan. So, ito yung management responsibility, statement of management responsibility, almost the same din. Ang kaibahan lang, dun sa management representation letter, naka-address siya kay auditor. So, hindi siya nakasama mismo sa financial statement. Yung nakasama na sa financial statements, statement of management responsibility. Yung naka-document naman kay auditor, management representation letter. Okay, next natin ay wrap-up procedures. Okay, sa wrap-up procedures, andyan na yung final analytical procedures. So, tinitingnan natin dyan yung mga kakaibang trends, kakaibang ratios, mga unusual. Gamit yung mga analytical ratios natin, yung trend analysis, horizontal and vertical analysis, ganun din yung ating mga liquidity ratios, turnover ratios, so depende na lang dun sa type ng business. So, yun, i-observe natin yan. Malaman natin baka may mga unusual figures. Going concern, so sa going concern, yung capacity ni company to continue. May pagpapatuloy pa ba nila yung kanilang operation? So, ang responsibility natin, unang-unang may responsibility dyan, si management. Management responsibility is the assessment ng going concern. Kasi siya mismo yung makapagsasabi kung kaya pa niya makapag-continue. Gaya ngayon, after the pandemic, madaming mga businesses yung titigil na. So, dapat dun sa financial statement is stated kung makatatagal pa ba siya within 12 months in operation. So, bakit yan mahalaga? Kasi yung valuation natin, kapag naka-going concern assumption tayo, historical basis, unless kung may specific standards na nagko-cover on a particular asset or liabilities or account. Pero kapag nasa liquidation na siya, fair value na kasi balak ibenta yung mga properties. Kaya mahalaga yan. Ang sa atin lang bilang auditor, kung appropriate yung assessment nila. Specifically this year, yung mga auditor, may going concern, sila, i-consider nila yan, yung effect ng pandemic. At last, pag natapos yung audit, magbibigay agad tayo ng opinion? Hindi. Magbibigay muna tayo sa board of directors na yung audit findings natin and recommended adjusting entries. So, tsaka lang tayo mag-judge depende sa kanilang action. Halimbawa, sinabi natin, dapat i-adjust to. Pwedeng materially misstated yung financial statements, magre-recommend tayo ng adjusting entry. Tutulungan natin magawa nila yung tama. Or sasabihin natin kung ano yung tama. Ang tanong, kung i-accept ba nila yung adjustment or hindi. Doon pa lang tayo magde-decide kung anong type ng opinion. So, i-elaborate pa natin yan. Next topic. Pag na-reject nila yung recommended adjusting entries nila, baka tayo magbigay either ng adverse opinion o kaya ng qualified opinion. May exception na. O kaya sabihin natin, not fairly presented yung financial statements. Pero kung in-accept nila, ibig sabihin, in-adjust. Ibig sabihin ba yung financial statements mo Financial statements ni client, tama na. Yes, kung tama na yung financial statements nila, so release na tayo. So, ibig sabihin, fairly presented na yung financial statements. So, therefore, pwede na tayo magbigay ng unqualified or unmodified opinion. Okay? Then last, natapos na yung audit report. Ano pa yung responsibility natin? So, ganun din lang. Yung kagaya ng responsibility natin sa subsequent events pa rin yan. Kung may subsequent events pa rin, after the issuance, ito na yun. After the issuance, dito yung responsibility natin. So, pwede ma-extend before the issuance to stockholders. Pero kung beyond pa siya, ayan na siya. Oh. May naging aware tayo, subsequent discovery of fact. Ano gagawin natin? So, pwedeng i-revise yung report, kagaya ng diniscuss natin kanina, depende na lang kung siya adjusting event or disclosure event. So, kung hindi na natin may revise yung report kasi na-distribute na yung financial statements, gumawa lang tayo ng paraan para i-notify muna natin yung board of directors para gumawa sila ng paraan para hindi mag-rely. O kaya naman, gagawa tayo ng way para hindi mag-rely si stockholders and other users of the financial statements to the report na in-issue niya. And last, yung subsequent discovery of omitted procedures. So, syempre, kung malaking business yan, may mga ka-team ka. Pag review mo, ikaw yung audit head, may hindi ginawang procedure. Ang titingnan mo lang dyan ay kung relevant ba yung procedure na yun to your audit opinion. Kung hindi naman, ignore mo lang. Pero kung relevant yun, di gawin mo. Kung may changes, o balik ka na naman. Kailangan mo bang i-revise yung report? Or kailangan mo na, or na-distribute na siya para ang gagawin mo na is to prevent them to rely on your audit report. So, that's all. Thank you.